What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today we're taking a look at the sneaker releases in the second half of December and whether I think each shoe is going to sit on shelves or sell out. It's really crazy to think that it's already the end of the year. 2018 went by really fast and there were some great releases, so it was a good year, but man, that went by fast. Before we actually get into the video, if you didn't already know, I actually teamed up with StockX to give away a pair of Union LA1s. Personally, for me, this is like sneaker of the year, so I'm super excited about having my pair, and I'm super excited to give away a pair to you guys. So if you'd like to find out how to enter to win the Union LA1s, make sure to click the link in the description below. That will take you to the review of this sneaker, and the instructions are all in that video. So good luck to everybody who enters, because I know we just had the last restock of the Union LA1s this morning, and I don't know anybody that actually hit, so I know this sneaker is going to be pretty hard to come by. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the releases in the second half of December. As usual with these sneaker release videos, it's not an exact science. The dates that I talk about today might not be the final release dates because release dates change all the time. It's super frustrating, I know. It really pisses me off sometimes. So if there's a sneaker that you're really looking forward to, make sure to stay up to date with that particular sneaker. Starting things off on December 19th, we have two releases of the OffWhite AF1 Lows. The OffWhite AF1 colorways that are releasing are an all black and a neon green colorway. And to give you guys my honest opinion on these shoes, one of them I love and one of them I kind of think is garbage. Now I guess you could say I have basic taste because I like the black colorway so much more. One, because it's a lot more wearable, and two, because it just looks better. The neon green colorway is fine, but I just don't see anyone actually wearing that shoe if it wasn't an off-white sneaker. It's just way too much, and I don't usually have a problem with bright sneakers, but when it's all like a highlighter yellow that doesn't really go with anything, I just don't understand the appeal. I don't. Now with that being said, it is still an off-white sneaker, and both colorways of the shoe feature the same touches around the sneaker, like the off-white branding and the sewn-on swoosh. And out of a lot of the silhouettes that Nike and Off-White have collaborated on, the AF1 Low is definitely one of the cleaner ones, but I just can't see myself rocking that neon green colorway. But as I'm sure you already know, because both of these sneakers are off-white sneakers, they're both gonna sell out and both be pretty difficult to get. Continuing on to December 20th, we've got a retro of the Nike LeBron 3 in white and navy blue. I'm not a LeBron 3 fan, so this is not a sneaker that I will be picking up. However, I know a lot of diehard LeBron fans who've been rocking with this sneaker since day one, so I know there's a lot of people who really want this shoe. I have no idea what the production numbers are on this retro. It could be very limited or it could be very general release. I tend to think it's probably gonna be more of a limited shoe, so it probably will be more difficult to get. But I mean, you're gonna have to take that with a grain of salt because there's just really no way to know. Because this is like the only retro LeBron 3 available at the moment, and like I said before, there's a lot of LeBron heads out there, I think the sneaker is probably gonna sell. And then rounding off December 20th, we've got a brand new Adidas silhouette that I'm actually pretty excited for. And that sneaker is the Adidas Crun Asterisk Collective. This is actually a pretty great looking retro inspired lifestyle runner, and it seems like it's coming out of Adidas's new push for this sort of creative collective that they've created. It comes in primarily red with what seems like a pretty well padded upper and then also a full boost midsole, which I'm pretty excited about. To be honest, it's kind of been a while since I've been excited about a brand new Adidas silhouette, and I think finally they're coming out with something that's pretty interesting. I'm not 100% sure how this sneaker will do, but because it's the first release of a brand new silhouette, I think there's a pretty good chance that this shoe could sell out. On December 21st, we've got a cold wall Nike Air Force 1 Lows dropping. There's a black colorway and a white colorway, and both uppers of these shoes look like they incorporate leather and suede. They're sort of an overly minimal Air Force 1 Low, and that's kind of weird to me because I think the Air Force 1 Low is already a pretty minimal sneaker. I'm usually a fan of minimal stuff, but I think these sneakers look like slippers, so I probably won't be picking these shoes up, but I know a lot of people are really hyped on these sneakers, and I think there's a very good chance that these shoes will sell out. Continuing on to December 22nd, we've got two Adidas Dragon Ball Z collaboration sneakers dropping. The first is the Shenron EQT ADV Mid in green, yellow, and red. And the second is the Super Shenron EQT ADV Mid in gold and black. Those names mean nothing to me, so you guys know I know nothing about Dragon Ball Z, so these releases kind of over my head. Out of the two, purely based on aesthetics, I'd have to go with the black and gold version because I just think it's more wearable. But because a lot of you guys are diehard Dragon Ball Z fans, I know a lot of you guys are gonna be going for both colorways regardless. And of course, as we've seen with all the other Dragon Ball Z sneakers in the collection, these ones are guaranteed to sell out because people just need to finish that box setup or whatever it is. I don't know. Next up is the brand new Pharrell Adidas Boost You Wear X in black, yellow, green, and red. I really used to love the Boost You Wears when they first came out, but the more that I wore the shoe and the more that I looked at the shoe, I started to fall out of love with it. And I think if they had actually dropped this collaboration earlier on in the Boost You Wear life cycle, this would have been a lot more hyped. But as of right now, I haven't really heard anyone talking about it. It's not a bad looking shoe. It is a little bit weird looking, but it's not bad looking. I think the colorway is a little too playful and a little too primary colory, if you know what I'm saying. So for that reason, I don't think it's going to be very hyped, but because it is an Adidas Pharrell collaboration on a new kind of sneaker, I do think this shoe will probably sell out. Next up, we've got the women's exclusive Air Jordan 10 Court Luxe Maya Moore. This is an extremely colorful Air Jordan 10. It's got pretty crazy color blocking. Maya Moore is an excellent basketball player who Jordan Brand has been backing for a while now, and it looks like she's getting another sneaker. I'm not 100% sure of the inspiration behind the shoe, so for that reason I'm not really in love with it. It's definitely not something that I'm gonna pick up, even though I have small enough feet to probably fit that shoe. Just not something I need. I'm also not totally sure if it's gonna be that popular of a release, so for that reason, I think it might sit. Is that the first shoe of the month that I said was gonna sit? Next, we have the women's Air Jordan 1 Court Luxe Aleli May. I know this sneaker is more hyped out of the two, but in my opinion, I like this sneaker way less. I'm not a huge fan of like furry sneakers, so I will be avoiding this shoe for sure. However, I have seen a lot of people who really like this shoe, and you know what, more power to them. These ones for me are gonna be a hard pass, but I know a lot of people who love these shoes, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna sell out. Following those up, we've got the Air Jordan 8 Air Raid. This is kind of just a black multicolor Air Jordan 8 with some hits of green, some hits of red, nothing really special. And not only that, but the Air Jordan 8 is one of the less popular Air Jordan models available, so I just don't think there's a lot of hype behind this sneaker, and I think they're gonna be making a bunch of these shoes, so for that reason, I think they're gonna sit. Following that up, we've got another Air Jordan release with the Air Jordan 6 Diffused Blue. I'm not 100% sure if this sneaker is confirmed for release yet, let alone release on the 22nd, but every single sneaker site seems to be saying that it's dropping on the 22nd, so I figured I should include it in the list. It's a pretty clean blue Air Jordan 6 with what seems to be a nubuck or suede upper. I think it's a good looking sneaker, but I just don't think there's that much hype behind it, so for that reason, I think it's probably gonna sit. And then rounding off the 22nd with the collaboration, we've got the Air Jordan 13 Low Clot. Clot has collaborated with Nike on a bunch of different sneakers like the Nike Vapor Max. And this Air Jordan 13, at first, I wasn't a fan of, but the more I started to look at the shoe, the more I'm kind of warming up to it. Now to be frank, it looks like a brick wall, which I guess isn't the worst thing in the world, but it definitely has a very outdoor wall sort of look. I'm not sure what to make of that. I don't know exactly what the inspiration behind the sneaker was. Maybe it was a brick wall, but for whatever reason, that's what it looks like, and I don't mind it. This pair has had some limited releases before this official sneakers app release, and the pairs that are out there are reselling for some decent money. So because of that, and also the fact that this sneaker is a collaboration, I definitely see this shoe selling out. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, we've got one of those instances of a sneaker release date being pushed back, and that's the Fear of God Nike Air Skylon 2 in white. I'm not totally sure the reason for this shoe being pushed back. I would assume it's because they didn't want to oversaturate the Fear of God release last weekend. I don't know, but this is a pretty good looking white sneaker with Fear of God accents throughout, and if you missed out on the original Fear of God releases and you want a Fear of God Nike piece, this is not a bad way to go. You could probably assume by this point, based on the previous Fear of God releases, this sneaker is definitely going to sell out. The day after Christmas, on December 26th, we've got 3 Nike Zoom 2Ks dropping. There's a white, a black, and a gray colorway dropping, and overall, these aren't bad looking sneakers. I actually don't have any experience with the Zoom 2K, so I'm pretty interested to see what these sneakers look like in hand. And to be real with you guys, I don't think that's gonna be hard because I just don't see these shoes selling out. Next up, we've got 2 Air Max 95s dropping from the Nike Grid Pack. This is kind of a weird pack, and I think it's based on grids. One of them's called the LV8. Elevate? Is that what that means? Elevate? I'm not totally sure, but if you're into the Air Max 95 with a grid printed all over it, both of these colorways are for you. With that being said, I don't think there's a lot of grid-loving people out there, so for that reason, I think these shoes are gonna sit. Following that up, we've got the Air Max 97 Swarovski Gold. Just like the previous crystal collaboration Air Max 97s that dropped a while back, this is a gold Air Max 97 completely covered in Swarovski crystals. And I'm pretty sure it retails for 400 bucks, which is nuts. If you have 400 bucks to blow and you like ridiculously shiny shoes, this is a great way to go. But as we saw with some of the previous crystal releases, I think there's a good chance that some of these might end up at outlets. I do think there's a pretty good chance that these will sell out on the sneakers app because everything seems to sell out on the sneakers app. But I think if you're near a Nike lab or a big Nike flagship store, if you walk in like a week after release, I'm sure they're still gonna have pairs available. So because of that, I think I'm gonna have to give these shoes a sit. And rounding off December 26th, we've got the Concepts Nike Kyrie 5 Ickhead. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is actually a super clean tan and purple Kyrie 5, and in my opinion, I think this is my favorite Kyrie 5 to release. Concepts just launched the Purple Lobster SB Dunk Low, and this sneaker seems to be in the same sort of family as that shoe. Mainly because of the purple. I don't know if they're related in any way other than the fact that they're collaborations with Concepts, but I really like the way it looks. As with most limited Kyrie 5 collaborations, this one is very hyped, and I think there's a very good chance that this shoe will sell out. Moving on to December 27th, we've got one of my most anticipated Yeezy releases of the entire year, the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 Static. This is another release date that you definitely have to take with a grain of salt because the only place that I've actually seen this date is from Yeezy Mafia. The release date hasn't been officially announced. Granted, there are a lot of pairs available on places like StockX, which usually means the sneaker release is imminent. But make sure to stay tuned to my channel because I actually just ordered a pair on StockX last night, so hopefully I can get a review out to you guys sooner than later. The reason I like this Static Yeezy so much is because it's a different take on the Yeezy 350 V2, and the main differentiating feature between the standard V2 is the translucent stripe along the side of the sneaker. This year has kind of been the year for clear sneakers. We've had things like the Nike React Element 87 and the OffWhite Nike Zoom Vaporfly, and it looks like Kanye and Adidas are finally getting on that trend with the 350 V2 with the see-through stripe. From what I've heard, the sneaker will be a little bit more limited than regular 350 V2 releases. However, I don't know how true that is. So if you want a pair, make sure you're calling your plug and staying up to date in release dates because shoes like this go pretty quick. And of course, if you couldn't already tell, the sneaker is probably gonna sell out. And then finally, rounding off the year on December 29th, we've got another one of my most anticipated Yeezys, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 700 V2. The V2, as the name would suggest, is obviously an updated take on the 700. And as I'm sure you guys probably already know, the OG 700 is one of my favorite sneakers of the past year or so. A year later, we finally get an updated version of the sneaker, and in my opinion, it looks even better than the original. And this white and cream colorway, which is currently being dubbed the Static colorway, is a very clean looking sneaker, and I'm pretty excited to have it in my collection. I'm really glad that we're finally starting to get some good Yeezy releases again, and the hype is starting to build back up because the Yeezy line, it isn't dead. It's just kind of taking a break. So I'd be willing to bet that this sneaker is probably gonna sell out. But that pretty much wraps up the last sit or sell video for 2018. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on the sneakers releasing and if there's any that you're looking forward to in particular, so make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to enter the Union LA Air Jordan 1 giveaway that I'm hosting on my channel with StockX. To find out how to enter that giveaway, make sure to check out my review of the Union LA Air Jordan 1s, which is linked above and also linked in the description below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.